Hi everyone, Materim here again with another narrative battle report, and this one features my Warriors of Chaos facing off against a new Dwarven Force to enter our narrative. So should be pretty interesting, and we're doing a 2,500 point pitched battle tonight. Daedalus, twice chosen, flew his manticore mount towards a shadow upon the mountain that marked the troll's den. The forces of order were increasing their movements in his land, and he was in desperate need of new troops. He landed on the rocky outcropping and called out, "Throg, come forth!" From within the darkened cave a twisted voice answered, "Who calls the Troll King?" "One who would be your master," Daedalus answered confidently. With a guttural laugh, the massive Troll King stepped from the cavern. "No man-thing rules Throg." The troll charged at Daedalus, who quickly whipped his mount to one side. His sword flashed downward twice, taking the Troll King's arms off at the shoulders. Then, with a single command to his mount, Throg was nailed to the side of the mountain by the Manticore's spiked tail. Daedalus looked down at the Troll King. "Who is your master, Troll King?" Throg laughed. "I have no master. You think you have beaten me? My arms will grow back, and then I will use them to choke out your life, human." Daedalus smiled, and said a word of power taught to him by his master. As he did, his sword glowed bright and began to smoke. As he lowered the blade to the troll's flesh, he reveled in the look of terror on the creature's face. "No fire! No fire!" he screamed. Daedalus looked over the glowing blade into Throg's eyes. "Who is your master?" he asked again. You are the master!" the beast yelled. Daedalus smiled and pressed the hot blade into Throg's flesh. As the troll screamed, he said, "And now you will remember my power." At the Chaos Lord's command, the Manticore removed its tail from the Troll King. As he slumped to the ground, he asked, "What is your command?" "Gather your best trolls and come with me. I have need of supplies and sacrifices to draw the attention of new forces. We will descend from these mountains as a scourge to any we come across." And so the twice-chosen's forces come upon a group of dwarves entering the land from underground at the site of a ruined trading post of some sort. As you can see, we've got our setup here. A lot of terrain on this board. There's the Earthblood Mere Marsh in the center. You got buildings on either side. The set of stones on the right-hand side there is actually a Bane stone. And then there's walls all over the place. So plenty of things for the dwarves to hide behind, and it's a very tight-packed army, and I have very, very few units, or very, very few models on the board. So I'm really going to have to see if I can make the most of what I've got here to overcome these dwarves. But let's go ahead and get into deployment. Okay, so starting on the dwarves' left, or my left, facing the dwarves, we have a conga line of 5 slayers. We have a dwarven bolt thrower with the rune of accuracy and the rune of seeking on it. Next to that is a large unit of 30 Longbeards with full command. In them is his Thane BSB with the Master Rune of Groth One Eye, and a Runesmith with a single rune of Spellbreaking. In front of that is a unit of, it looks like, 10 Quarrelers. They have only a Musician upgrade. Then we have a Grudge Thrower with the Rune of Forging and the Rune of Burning to give it flaming attacks. Next to that is a big old unit of 30 Ironbreakers with full command. They have the runic standard of Rune of Courage. In them also is his general, a Thane on Oathstone with the Rune of Striking, 2 runes of Iron and a Rune of Stone, and a Rune of Warding, and this is where that first Runesmith was. I'm sorry, he's not in that other group. My mistake. Next to that is a second Grudge Thrower with the Rune of Penetrating and the Rune of Forging. In front of that is another 10-man Quarreler unit with only a Musician in it. And then on this end, you can see another conga line of 5 Slayers. Behind that is his Rune Lord on the Anvil of Doom. The Rune Lord has the Master Rune of Alaric the Mad, Master Rune of Grommel, Rune of Shielding, and 2 runes of Spell Breaking. So definitely some powerful anti-magic forces here. But I kind of played the fool on the dwarves this time, as he actually has more magic on the board than I do, and you'll see what I mean about it. So all the way on my left, hiding behind the house, is a new character for my Warriors of Chaos, Bordrim Stonefist. He is an exalted hero of Khorne on a Chaos Chariot, Mark Khorne. He has the Sword of Strife and Hideous Visage. Oh, and he also has scaled skin on him. But I wanted to get a good picture of this, because this is actually the chariot that Lord Tremendous sent to me, since I mentioned that I love chariots and I didn't have any for my Warriors of Chaos army. So I painted him up good, and hopefully he'll do well for me in this battle. On the other side of the building, I have 6 Chaos Trolls with extra hand weapon, and with them is Throg. Behind them is my one and only source of magic in this list, a Chaos War Shrine to Tzeentch. There's no character on it, just the War Shrine. Vanguarded up there, you see I have 5 Chaos Warhounds with Vanguard. In the back, I have my 15-man unit of Khorne Warriors. They have full command and the Banner of Rage. And next to that, you see my General, Daedalus Twice Chosen, Lord of Tzeentch with the Ogre Blade, Talisman of Preservation, and Third Eye of Tzeentch, and he is on the back of a Manticore. And here's just a better picture of him. Behind him, I have 5 Chaos Knights of Nurgle. They have full command with them as well. Next to that is his Slaughter Brute, which is bound to Daedalus Twice Chosen. Then covering my right flank, I have my Chimera with the Flaming Breath, Regenerating Flesh, and Venomous Ooze upgrades, as well as another 5-man unit of dogs with Vanguard holding up that right flank. So, Dwarves got turn 1, and I knew this was going to be trouble. First things first is the Dwarves conga line, dun 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 dun, out to try and block up some stuff. And really, my dogs are probably not... Well, my dogs might take them. I'm just very nervous about those Slayer conga lines getting in the way and just holding me up while he starts dropping rocks with those 2 freaking grudge throwers all over the place. And then this conga line about faces to look at the Chaos Hounds that are coming up that other flank there. And that is, I'm pretty sure, the entirety of his movement. So I stop his magic, so we go into shooting. He drops the Flaming Grudge Thrower, direct hit on my trolls, killing 2 and leaving a wound, or 2 wounds on the last one in the back rank there. So that was not what I wanted to have happen. And then he dropped the other stone on them and ended up only killing off the last troll. So I've lost 3 trolls, top of 1. Not really what I'm looking for. And this was, I think, the second direct hit. He just rolled badly for the wounding on the second one. So, my turn 1, I know I got to get up in him as fast as I can. As far as I can tell, this right flank is going to be his weakest. So I move the Chimera out. It's peeking out just a little bit behind that building so that I can get a charge on the those Slayers, or maybe even the Anvil of Doom if I get lucky. Slaughter Brute is coming straight forward, trying to draw some heat from the Quarrelers. And Daedalus Twice Chosen is going to follow his Chimera in. Hopefully the 1-2 punch there will let me put a crack in that wall and make some headway here. And in the center here, everything else moves up pretty aggressively. I am not march blocked with the dogs, so I managed to turn and run them up so that I'm in line of sight with his bolt thrower for next turn and out of line of sight of the Slayers, so they're not going to be able to charge me, hopefully, before I can get in there. And you can kind of see it, even though the autofocus was a little close. Bordrim and his chariot are slowly coming up that side. Basically, with him, he can put out a lot of hits. I just need to look for a weak point and drive him home. And I think I can actually do some decent damage with him. The big problem I'm going to have with any of this is that I don't have much steadfast to go around, and the dwarves have a lot of it, so I've got to hit like a ton of bricks. And here is just showing where my dogs kind of scooted up, so they're out of line of sight of the slayers. He's probably, the way I'm thinking, he's probably going to end up shooting me to death with those quarrelers, but at least he's shooting at them rather than something more important. So we'll see how that works out. So with nothing else going on, my magic, I did get the spell off, and I think it gave one of my guys it gave Throg +1 strength and a +1 weapon skill to the champion of the corn unit. So not bad. So we go into the dwarf turn 2, and the conga line, dun 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 dun, keeps coming. He's obviously trying to get him in front of the corn warriors and slow me down and or redirect me there. And then he did a move here that really surprised me. Rather than, I guess, waste the effort to deal with the dogs, he just slid his long beards up just a little bit so that I no longer can get in there against the bolt thrower. It does really limit his line of arc on this side, but he still has my trolls and Boardrim and his chariot that he can fire at, so he's not really losing out too much. So it was kind of nice. It was subtle. He managed to hold together stuff and not really waste any resources to foil my aspirations there. And here he basically he keeps turning the slayers to keep an eye on the dogs. But what he doesn't realize he's done here is he's presented the back of that unit to my Slaughtermaster and the flank to the Chimera. So unless he does something to deal with them this turn, that Slayer unit's just going to get eaten. But I really shouldn't have been so overconfident, because in the magic phase, the dwarves just completely out-magic me and blow my Chimera off the board with the Rune of Wrath and Ruin out of the Anvil of Doom. So yeah, that sucked. And then the laser-fired trebuchets, or grudge throwers, land 2 more direct hits on the trolls. So 2 more dead, 1 has 2 wounds on him, and luckily he hasn't been throwing anything at Throg yet, but it's only a matter of time at this point. He's been chewing that unit down pretty casually. And then during shooting, he does decide to go ahead and shoot with the Quarrelers at the dogs, kills 4 of them, and the 1 panics and starts to run. So we go into my turn 2, and my plan is here. I hit the dogs into the anvil. I'm going to hit my general and the slaughter brute into the slayers. Fight the slayer, fight first, kill them, and overrun. So that's my master plan. I figure slaughter brute and Daedalus on his Manticore plus the dog should be able to make short work of this Rune Lord on the Anvil of Douchery. But we'll go ahead and see how that works. But I do succeed the charge here with the dog. I also decide to go ahead and throw Throg and the Troll here into the Slayers, just so they may be in combat and not getting destroyed by rocks. And then the Slaughter Brute fails his charge and ends up right there where those Quarrelers are just going to ruin his day. And I don't get a picture of it, but Daedalus, twice chosen, also fails his charge against the Slayers. So those dogs are going to get the crap beaten out of them by that Rune Lord and his guards. So that totally failed. And you can also see that the Slaughter Brute actually took 2 wounds from those Quarrelers last turn. So it's not been a good game for him. But here in the center, again, everything else moves up pretty aggressively. Once those Slayers get broken, we're going to kind of keep running forward and just see what we can hit, because I just can't put up with too many more turns of him lobbing rocks at us. And here you see Boardrim Stonefist is continuing moving up as well. I'm thinking maybe I can do next turn a long bomb charge against the Bolt Thrower, maybe, or maybe just go ahead and toss him in the front of those dwarves just to see what he can do. I'm not quite sure yet. And going over that wall kind of makes me nervous. And my poor little Chaos Dog fails to rally and continues running away, but not very much. He stopped to tell Boardrim, dude, you don't want to go over there. There's scary stuff over there. We'll see if Boardrim actually listens to the poor dog's advice. So during my magic, I managed to get off another buff to the champions. I don't really even remember what it was at this point. But then the freaking Slayers, they get annihilated, but they end up putting 2 wounds on Throg before they go. So these trolls have just been totally letting me down. Throg obviously has not been bringing his A game or his best trolls. Traitorous bastard. And see this little lone doggy here running towards the other end? That's all that's left of the Chaos Hounds that assaulted the Rune Lord. He beat them all but one down, and they ran off, and since he's a war machine, he can't pursue, so there they go. So we go to Dwarf, what is this, turn 3, I think. Nothing moves, because why would dwarves move? So Magic, he ends up getting the spell that makes his entire army within 24 inches immune to Psych, but big whoop. But he's out-magicking me, and it's a little embarrassing. And then those Quarrelers end up putting 2 more wounds on the Slaughter Brute, which makes it worse. Then his freaking laser-guided rock throwers strike again. 2 more rocks on the troll's head, killing Throg and this extra troll. So, going into Warriors turn 3, I have become enraged at the failure of my trolls, and Bordrim charges over the wall with nary a concern for his own health, and slams right in the front of these Longbeards. I know I can output some damage, but I need to just hit for the fences and hopefully challenge out his BSB and kill him here to have a chance. But I'm tired of playing the long game and getting shot to death. Over here, I do finally succeeding getting Daedalus Twice Chosen in with the Rune Lord on the anvil and the Slaughter Brute into the Slayers. So we'll see how well that goes. And everything else here, I'm moving up kind of cautiously. I put the Knights right up against the wall so that the Quarrelers will have a hard time shooting on them. And now next turn they'll be able to charge over the wall and hit them without being shot in a stand and shoot. And I'm slowly working the other warriors up in the same way and keeping the War Shrine where I can keep popping the spell off. And here is where my opponent made a crucial mistake. I pop off the spell, I get it relatively high, and rather than choosing to use his Spell Eater rune on it, he tries to use dice to dispel it and fails. In addition to some bonuses, I end up turning the champion of the Nurgle Knights into a Demon Prince of Nurgle. And I've got enough space to drop him right behind those Quarrelers, so he is going to ruin that Grudge Thrower's day. And I finally feel like something in this game is going in my direction. But I know my opponent was just kicking himself that he didn't use a Spell Eater rune on this one. So we go into combat here. I kill... The Slaughter Brute only kills 2 of the Slayers. Their attacks back at him managed to finish him off, so poor Slaughter Brute. You tried so hard this game, it was just going against you, buddy. We'll see you next time, though, so keep your 3 chins up, or whatever it is. But now I've got those Slayers there that are going to cause problems, too, and frustrating. But I'm hoping the benefit of my Demon Prince behind his line will, if not make up for it statistically, at least kind of rattle my opponent's game plan and give me an opening. And in the combat with the Runesmith, Daedalus doesn't do great. A couple of wounds. But then his Manticore just decides to show everybody what a monster truly is. And the Manticore ends up eating the Rune Lord. And so we kill, overrun, and slam into the side of the Grudge Thrower here. Which is awesome. That's yet another war machine that's going to be down, and I'm feeling excited. I think if I can keep this momentum going, I might have enough turns left in the game to turn things around, though I absolutely have to break one of these big units, and that's going to be an uphill battle. Then over here, Bordrim declares a challenge, and surprisingly, the Dwarf BSB says, screw that noise, and gets sent to the back. I was really surprised at that, but my opponent just looked at me and said, I got leadership 10. Who needs the reroll? And he's right. He's got leadership 10. He's going to be stubborn. I've got to do a ridiculous amount of damage to get through him, and he would be foolish to risk the BSB on that one. So I absolutely agree with his decision. I just was not expecting it. But all in all, I ended up not doing bad. I impacted well, did a bunch of damage. I think I peeled off a rank and a half, something crazy like that. But he was steadfast and didn't go anywhere. So, and it wouldn't. I mean, with his static combat res, it wasn't even like I beat him by that much. But now the momentum is lost for poor Boardroom, and we'll have to kind of see what the what he can make of himself from here on in. So we go into Dwarf turn 4, and the Dwarves charge into the side of my general, which disengages me from the War Machine fight and means I'm going to have to kill those little orange-headed punks before I can get into anything that I need to, which frankly is the game my opponent needs to be playing right now, because right now he's up on me on points, and I've got a lot of work before I can get through one of these units, so the longer he can keep me dealing with just piddly crap, the better off he's going to be. So with no magic phase now, we go into shooting. Quarrelers take off 3 of my Warriors of Corn, which is not good in any way, shape, or form. And I'm pretty sure the rest of his shooting went wide from whatever it was going to, but we go into combat. Obviously, my general eats the Slayers, but because I was charged, I can't overrun, so I'm just kind of hanging out there. Now let me explain what this is. Over here, I try challenging again with Boardroom. The BSB steps to the back again. I do some wounds, but not nearly enough. I end up losing this match, and I break. I don't have a BSB in this army, so it wasn't good. So I go back over the wall and fail the dangerous terrain test, and 5 wounds were taken. I wasn't entirely sure how to deal with that, since it's a character on a chariot, but since it's the chariot that takes the dangerous terrain, we just applied the wounds to the chariot, so the chariot was destroyed out from under Boardroom, so I stuck the Throg Mini on there, because Boardroom is actually glued down to that chariot. He's not magnetized, so I couldn't really pull him off. So that's what we've got going on there, and oh my god, he did not sell himself expensive enough. I could have dealt with him dying and running off if he had killed the BSB or reduced that unit to 2 ranks. I mean, something significant. I would have felt that would have been an even trade, but he just didn't do that, and there's still a lot of those Longbeards there, and it's just something else I'm going to have to deal with. So we go into Warriors turn 4. My general slams into this Grudge Thrower again to try and finish it off, and my Chaos Warriors slam into the front of his Iron Breakers. My hope here is I'm going to slam the Demon Prince into the other Grudge Thrower, so that once we fight this middle fight, the Demon Prince will have overrun into the one flank, my General will have overrun into the other, and then these Corn Warriors, which can be blenderish, particularly that champion who's like Strength 5, Toughness 5 from the buffs I've been giving him on the War Shrine, should actually be able to chew him up, but it's still going to take time. And here is just that image of the Demon Prince of Nurgle slamming into the side of the Grudge Thrower over there. You also see the Knights of Nurgle leap over the fence and slam into the front of his Quarrelers, as you can see them. In this point, I'm actually just going to plan on killing those Quarrelers and then reforming to block off his his Longbeards from being able to come help the Iron Breakers. And my dog over here rallies and comes or he may have rallied last turn, but he comes over here to just kind of be a nuisance. Now, please remember this because it's going to become important later on, but I was super happy that he rallied and ended up over here. And in combat, the 2 fights against the Grudge Throwers work out exactly as I assumed they would, and so now this is a big old messy fight to slam here into his general's unit. but the dwarves are holding their own. I declared a challenge, I think, with the champion of my unit, and his champion stepped up. So he gets chopped up. The dwarves do a little bit more damage to the warrior unit, and even managed to do a wound to the manticore that my general is riding. So that was looking very bad for me until I ended up doing like 11 thunder stomps between the demon prince and the manticore, and peeled off like over a rank of dudes. So that balanced things out pretty well. I'm winning this battle, but he's stubborn leadership 10 with a reroll still, and he's not going anywhere. I'm going to have to kill this unit to a man to get the points for it. I just hope I can do it fast enough. So we go to dwarf turn 5, and the freaking bolt thrower that I had been unable to get to the entire time draws a bead on the back of Boardroom's head and blows it off. His dwarven war machines have been amazing this game. Definitely earned their points, and particularly with the army I brought, I just did not have the tools to deal with them as fast as I needed to. So kudos to him. It was strong items, good list, but it's so frustrating to just get blown off the board. And you do see here, he actually swift reformed and moved his quarrelers, so they'll be charging into the flank of my warriors next turn. But combat in over here, I did just another massacre. I think another rank of Iron Breakers came off. My general and his Thane are in challenge now, I think is what it is, but I haven't killed him yet. And then my knights finish off the quarrelers and turn to face the iron or the Longbeards that are going to be coming on. So yeah, I'm losing warriors, and I frankly can't afford to lose him as much as he is. So this is still in doubt, even though I am still winning the combats here. So we go into, I guess this is top of... Okay, this is my turn. I don't know why I charged here. Yeah, so this is my turn 5. For some reason I charged, I guess to get the... Well, no, because I got ensorcelled weapons. I don't know. I charged my Nurgle Knights in, and I'm pretty sure that's a dumb move. Unless I was expecting him to kill them all and not be able to overrun. Maybe that was it, but that was my movement. Over here, this poor dog is still running, failing to rally and running for the board. Will eventually be there, but not right now. So we show the combat here, and I do want to make one change. I actually realize now that it's just the picture. I did not charge with my Nurgle Knights. I actually just moved them within an inch of his Longbeard so that he couldn't charge characters out or anything to get into the fight. But over here, the fight goes on. I think I've killed his general at this point. He kills 3 more of the warriors. Still losing, but now he's leadership 9 rerollable. Stubborn. I'm just not killing enough of them, even though you see this pile up. I'm just hoping to kill faster. On the plus side, the one thing that's kind of keeping me in this is that the Demon Prince is rolling like 6s for Thunderstomp every turn. So it's just like bam, 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 bam. And but there's a lot of armor on those guys, so even with that, that's where most of my wounds are coming from. So, top of turn 6, the Longbeards slam into the front of my Nurgle Knights. And, yeah, I'm pretty sure, I mean, they've got, despite their look, these are actually hand weapon and shield dwarves. So I've got some good armor save, maybe that'll hold me up, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to get blasted here. And he slams the Quarrelers into the corner of my 4 remaining Warriors of Khorne. And you can actually see he has been doing some wounds to my Manticore. My Manticore has taken 3 wounds too, but I'm just doing some... Okay, and actually I see his Thane there. So I haven't killed his Thane yet. I think that comes this turn then. So we do the combat with the Nurgle Warriors and the Longbeards first, and he kills the Nurgle Knights, but does not overrun far enough to clip this combat, so he's out of that. And then I just open up. His general finally dies. Demon Prince tears up dudes and stomps for 6, so they're finally annihilated. And this is actually the show at the top after my reforms. Bottom of 6, I realize I've got to get some points. There's no way I've got time to go through those long beards, so I decide to throw everything into the quarrelers, and hopefully I can kill them, and we'll see where we come down for points. Keep in mind, my live Chaos Hound is still hanging out over there. However, this one fails to rally and runs right off the table, so there's some points for my opponent. And during combat, obviously, a unit of 10 Quarrelers is not going to survive against a Demon Prince, a Chaos Lord, a Manticore, and the Warriors, so they just get absolutely annihilated, and that's game. It's been bloody, terrifying, and unfortunately I didn't get a final picture of the whole board, but he still has that big brick of Warriors, and we got to go to points, or Longbeards, not Warriors, so we'll see where it goes. Lorg Thunderhammer walked through the open doors of Karak Ziflin, smelling the open air for the first time in years. His clan had been homeless. Traveling the underway for most of his life, he and his clan had battled greenskins and Skaven, it seemed, at every turn. Finally reaching the underground portion of Ziflin, a place held by his great-great-great-grandfather, Torgon Thunderhammer. His clan overrun by greenskins and forced to leave and wander. It had taken almost 2 generations to reclaim what was theirs, but the day had finally come. Lorg noticed movement from the small pass leading to the main gates. He had sent a small force out to explore the area and return with any information and equipment they could find. He saw the grim face of his most trusted thane, Durgan Shieldbreaker. Behind him marched 25 of the Greybeards, and finally, pulling an old bolt thrower, were 3 more dwarves behind them. It looked to be all that was left of the forces that had left the Karak 3 days before. "My lord," Durgan kneeled before Lorg, "we were attacked by the human Chaos Warriors. We managed to hold them off, but took a great deal of loss doing so. We managed to find some old weapons and used them as best we could. The damned Chaos Lords were behind them, and one transformed into a demon, which almost turned the tide against us." "I'm glad to see you are alive, my old friend," Lorg responded. "You did not anticipate any resistance in the area. You did well to return with us with what you could find. We shall add the Chaos Bastards to the Book of Grudges, and our brethren will be avenged." With that, the Standard Bearer continued back through the main doors, followed by the Greybeards. Lorg remained outside, looking out on the horizon. He knew he would have to make alliances to help rebuild his forge, and if the forces of chaos are in the mountains, he would need information as well as supplies. He unrolled a map he had found in the old war room. It was written in the rat's tongue, but Lorg knew well his enemies inside and out, learning not only their language but their tactics as well. Even though the map was old, he felt as though some of the towns must still be there. "Dirk!" Lorg called out. Within a few moments, Dirk Deadshot, head of the Rangers, approached. "My lord? I need you to make contact with the humans of Lawningsbrook. Tell them their new neighbors would like to speak with them, and offer their assistance against the rising chaos. Tell them that the Thunderhammers have returned to Karak Ziflin." And so, when we totaled the points, it turned out to be a draw. 97 points in favor of the Dwarves. He was 3 points shy of victory. And I wanted you guys to remember that Chaos Hound, because had I not rolled the double ones needed to rally him and kept him out of battle, my opponent would have won this. So, very little kept it together. It was a hard-fought game on both sides. It was very tight, a lot of blood, a lot of dead trolls under big rocks. I hope you guys enjoyed this battle as much as we did. It was very crazy. Really, nobody knew what was going to happen until the end of the game. I think we were both thinking the other one was going to win, and it came down very, very close. So it was an excellent game. I definitely need to work on getting some magic into this Warriors of Chaos army, because God knows, when you're out-magicked by dwarves, it's just a bad day. But I think ultimately the biggest failure my opponent did is he failed to use his scroll to eat the spell from the chariot, or the war shrine. and tried to go for his dice, and he did that, and that's where I got the Demon Prince. And I would not have come anywhere close to breaking that Ironbreaker group if it hadn't been for the Demon Prince, like Thunder Stomping 6 every turn. So, as far as the list goes, I like it. I think, like I said, I think the trolls are going to go away for a little bit. That should leave me enough room to put some more troops, maybe a wizard of some sort in there. See what I can do. All in all, though, it was a very fun game. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. If this is the first video you guys have seen, please feel free to subscribe to the channel and get more of the same great battle reports and great stories. Speaking of which, it'll be very interesting to see where Skip takes the new dwarves, the Thunderhammer dwarves, into our narrative, and see kind of where things go from here. So I'm looking forward to it. As always, if you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I'll be more than happy to get to them as soon as I can. And I do want to apologize. I still have this stupid cough. I'm feeling much better, but the cough is, I hope, not going to be with me too much longer. But I know it can be frustrating listening to these battle reports with me sounding like I'm hacking up a lung. But thank you guys for watching, and we will go ahead and catch you next time.